Since COVID-19 hit, tens of millions of us have lost our jobs. We closed businesses, saw hours slashed, and careers turned upside down. So how do we make a comeback? What's our game plan? I'm Donnie Jones, former professional football player and business owner. In this series, I'm talking with people across the country who are asking these same questions, as well as those who can share practical advice to get us all back on our feet. This is The Game Plan. Today we explore how to navigate your career in a disruptive economy and how to stay a step ahead of the changes that the future has in store for us. Let's head to Los Angeles, California to meet Elliot London. Elliot was working his dream job as a flight attendant, and then the pandemic hit.
Personally, COVID-19's been awful. I never thought I could see all the balls drop at once.
I went from making $45 an hour, putting on my gorgeous uniform, showing up to the airport, traveling overseas, to now start all over.
Elliot and his husband both lost their jobs during the pandemic. Now they're rethinking their lives and their futures.
How do we get to a point which will be financially okay?
I am trying to find my guidance on where I'm going to go.
To help Elliot make a game plan, I'm hooking him up with career coach Beverly Jones.
Part of reinvention is the thrill that comes when you take on something you're afraid to do, and then you find yourself getting there. I work with people who are trying to go to a different place in their career and find ways to help them make a plan and start executing that plan.
While the pandemic might keep us in our homes, I'm not going to let this stop us from connecting. I shipped some gear to Elliot and Beverly so we can safely meet up and lay out a game plan. Elliot, I can only imagine all the different things that have happened to you during COVID-19. So what's been your experience over the last year or so?
It wasn't my favorite year for sure. My life is completely done a 180. I was doing my dream job. I was a flight attendant for a major airline, flying international. I had got my furlough notice in September. It was a huge wake-up call. All 10,000 of us from our company, we were just like, what do we do? What do we do? We have to find a job, any job.
How have you been working through it?
I think my hardest part is not knowing which direction to split right now. And I just turned 40, so I'm wondering if I need to go in a new career, or do I stay the course?
I've been through the same thing. I was working as an executive of a data company. COVID-19 hit. Sales went from this to this. I've got a house, got a mortgage, I got bills to pay. And I'm sitting here saying, okay, well, how do I translate the things that I've done in my previous job into the next opportunity? One of the best things that we can do today is bring in Beverly Jones. She's a career and executive coach. And so I'd love to hear a little bit about your story and how you reinvented yourself.
Well, I've reinvented myself many times. I've been through law firms that have shut down. I've become a lawyer when they changed the law. It was no good anymore. By now, worked with many people who are going through career transitions. It's about having that flexible mindset.
So Beverly, as you're seeing us come out of this pandemic, what are going to be the new types of jobs that are out there?
There's some things that we're already seeing. I think there's a new awareness of wellness, of how important it is to employers. There are all kinds of jobs related to clean energy and climate change and greener economy. I feel very confident that you're going to find some opportunities that are going to be surprise, and you're going to find yourself in a new space very soon.
Where do I start?
The first step is that often when people are in an unwelcome, unexpected transition particularly, they are so shocked and overwhelmed by it that it's hard to sort things out about what they want next. It's hard to feel optimistic about the future. So I always start working with them by asking them to make a big list that's going to give them pointers to where they want to go.
Beverly, why don't you take Elliot through how to make his list?
I'd be happy to do that. Let's start by having you tell me some of the things that you like about your career with the airline.
I love the teamwork aspect of flying, and I love dealing with people, that person-to-person relationship versus just an email.
You've identified an extraordinary skill set, customer service. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody finds it enjoyable to be taking care of people. Are there other areas where you might see yourself applying those great customer service skills?
The dream for me would be to have a coffee shop because I get to interact with people.
Yeah.
That's like my end all goal. Like if I could be a flight attendant and have a coffee shop.
Have you had a side business in the past as a flight attendant?
Yeah, I do photography is one of my hobbies, and I started doing headshots.
Sounds like learning about business, learning about organizing, learning about sales. You could use that right now with your photography.
You're absolutely right. That's all skill sets that I can use towards entrepreneurship for sure.
You're starting to think about your career as a bundle of possibilities that can help you pursue and grow in more than one career at the same time.
Beverly, there's got to be a way to break this down into steps.
Something that I found have been really useful to reduce a question like, what do I do with my life, is to create a mind map. You want to try it?
Absolutely, I'm ready.
Okay, so in the center of a mind map, I just put your initial, and then what we're going to do is the initial branches. Preparing yourself for entrepreneurship might be a category of activity. So you want to draw a line, just call it learning. If you were to divide that into further branches, one of them might be a community college course. One of them might be certain kind of reading. One of them might be learning more about the technology at work. Resume and online presence might be a separate branch of its own. Your resume is no longer just a list of jobs you had on such and such a date. Now you want to start with an about that's more your brand, and then you can look for ways to post your resume. More broadly you spread your profile, the better. The next thing, of course, is networking. There is overwhelming evidence that networking is how many people find their jobs, and it's not the formal structured way. It's you get out and about and you talk to people. And then maybe you break it into several little branches. One of them is connecting with the people you already know. Another one is looking for ways to explore your communities. Social media is so important, you might want to do that as its own branch.
Let me tell you something. When I lost my job, I was going up and down every single platform trying to figure out who I was connected to and how they could get me from here to here to here to here to here and have whomever I might want to get connected to surrounded.
Absolutely. So do you kind of have a sense of your map here?
Yes, very much so.
You got it. You got it.
Beverly, how do you kind of direct your energy? Because it's also a management of time.
You're going to have a map of the things you're going to be keeping track of. And every week then, as you're going to maybe set your schedule or make your plan, you look at the map and make sure you hit all of the branches. The trick is to commit to a cadence of activity that you can comfortably live with, and with the steps that are so small that you can accomplish a lot of them, and that's how you start to build your momentum.
I think my biggest hurdle is that I don't want to self-sabotage, or I don't want to let anxiety take over.
A big part of your career activity is doing everything you can to nurture the savvy, confident person that you are. And after the year you've had, this means a lot of taking care of yourself. There are other things that you can do for dealing with anxiety, meditation, yoga. So those could go right on your list, because part of your activities and your blocks are helping you to be the kind of person you're going to need to be to thrive in the next phase.
Elliot, it seems like we have the game plan.
We have the game plan. You know, when you write it out, it doesn't seem as daunting. It seems much more achievable.
You're willing to learn. You've got all kinds of skills that you don't even know you have because they're so much part of you, and you're on your way.
Thank you both, Dahani. Thank you, Beverly. You're changing lives.
By making a big list of interests, skills, and passions, creating a mind map for next steps, and keeping a commitment to progress, Elliot can make an informed decision about balancing his current career with the future he wants for himself and his family.